I'm going to be doing this in just 1 week. Hello, my name is Sam West and this is Wild West, the show where I do the world's most obscure extreme sports with just 1 week's practice. In this, episode 3, I'll be trying luge boarding. Luge boarding is a combination between the Winter Olympic sport of ice luging and downhill longboarding. The first luge boarding event was held in 1975 in the good old US of A. In a luge boarding race, you use your hands to get yourself off the line as fast as you can, and then once you're moving, you shift your body weight to steer, and first across the line is the winner. Luge boards are usually homemade, and they're made of things like aluminium, fiberglass, and carbon fiber. Luge boarding is an extremely fast sport. Over time, the top speeds have only gone up, with the current world record being held by Damien Andre at a blistering 101.83 miles per hour. All you've got to slow down with is your shoes, so racers add extra thick soles so they don't wear through to the bottoms of their feet. Now I've got just 7 days to go from zero to racing some of the world's best luge boarders at the Tregaron Freeride event, so let's break this down into its more manageable key factors. The first factor I'm going to have to deal with is speed. The average luge boarding race runs between 30 and 45 miles per hour, so getting used to travelling at those speeds on something I have zero experience with is going to be quite a big hurdle to get over. Next is nerve. I've not only got to have the nerve to get up to speed, but I've got to be able to keep that nerve up as I'm racing at top speed around corners and while in close proximity to other racers and the edge of the track. Another key factor is reaction time. Since I'll be travelling so fast, my reaction time is going to be shaved down a lot, and the ability to react to other racers and the track are going to be really important, otherwise I could end up wrapped around a fence post or pick up a serious case of road rash. And last but not least is mental flexibility. What I mean by mental flexibility is the ability to adapt and perform while under pressure. I've got to be able to think 2 steps ahead in a very fast-paced, dangerous and changing environment so that I can keep up with the top tier competitors I'm going to be going up against. Now as always, I need a mentor who's going to give me all the tips to carry me through this week, so I've travelled all the way up to Leeds to meet up with the man who knows more about luge boarding than anybody. This is Andy Spate. He's no stranger to speed and he's competed in luge boarding all over the world, most recently racing in Turkey where he beat his all-time speed record by topping out at 70 miles per hour. And considering you've only got your feet to brake with, this man has got some Jurassic-sized you-know-what. Now Andy's also a very skilled engineer, and he's put those skills to good use because he makes custom luge boards and longboards. So not only is he mentoring me through this week, but he's also gone and made me my own custom luge board. Anyway, you join me back at Andy's where he's agreed to give me a tour of his ultimate luge boarding man cave and also get me set up with all the gear for this coming week. That doesn't work. Hello, Andy. Nice to meet you. God, you're not taller than I expected. Bloody hell.
Go on in. Welcome to Leeds. Yeah. This is all house, but down here is where...
This is where the magic happens.
Yes, this is where the magic happens, you could say.
Now, I'm not going to lie, walking into Andy's luge room was a bit overwhelming, but in a good way. There was a million different things to look at, and Andy could talk in depth about every single piece. It was quite a lot to take in, but it really drove home the fact that Andy knows what he's talking about. Now, once we'd had a good look around the luge room, it was time to get a look at the board that I'm going to be training on.
This is your board, by the way.
This is my board?
This is yours. Well, have a look.
Show me through it. Yeah, what's...
Show you through it?
Yeah, this is my board.
This is it. Basically, my design of pan.
Right.
So
yeah, because what's the parts called? The pan is the main...
You've got the rail and the pan. That seems to be about the only kit, but these, people call them different.
Yeah.
I call them droppers. 2 droppers. You've got wheel guard. Here you've got adjustment.
Yeah.
Front and back. You can have 6 or you can have 4 wheels on this. Some people only use 4 wheels for doing high speed, so I have a 3rd luge that's literally for just doing high speeds in a straight line.
Now, talking of high speeds, for this episode of Wild West, I've got to wear a lot more safety equipment than anyone I've done before. And that's because for my training, I'll be travelling at essentially the speed of a car, but with only my shoes to brake with. So Andy very kindly lent me this helmet to stop me from caving my head in, and then we had a mosey on out to the workshop to have a look at my full motorbike leathers and make some brake shoes. Those are the gloves. Yeah. And I bought this suit a very, very long time ago so I could do a certain stunt where I set myself on fire completely right from head to toe. And I use this as a layer. But I want you to give me your thoughts.
It's excellent because it's overkill. You won't get hurt in that because there is so much in it.
That's what I like to hear.
You're best getting that using, I'd wear that at Tregaron.
Yeah.
Because at Tregaron, they know that people are going to be...
Yeah, a bit argy-bargy.
Yeah.
But you think this is going to be...
That is totally fine, yeah. Yeah, that's totally fine.
So the suit?
Suit's fine.
Suit's good.
Gloves, bang on.
Last but not least, I have some shoes.
That is just the job, like I say. That All
Give me
this,
that one.
all this, it's protection and support. When you're racing,
Yeah.
impact from somebody's board, just having a pair of like thin Vans
Yeah.
type
Yeah.
skate trainers is gonna hurt.
Now Andy's given me the thumbs up on my leathers and my choice of shoes, it's time to put the extra thick brake sole on the bottom of my shoes. Okay, you're recording. Now, I'm not going to make you sit through an hour-long video of me and Andy making some brake soles, so basically, you take industrial rubber sheet just like this, you draw around your shoe onto the rubber sheet to make a template, and then you cut it out to make your brake sole.
So that should be, is that one or is it?
You then attach the fluffy side of some industrial Velcro to the bottom of your brake sole with contact adhesive, and season with a few staples for a bit of added strength. Then attach the hook and loop side to the bottom of your shoes using, you guessed it, more contact adhesive.
And again, this is another thing I do, is 2 layers.
Then you just reinforce the Velcro with staples, and voila. Can you tell the difference? Can you tell the difference between... Can you tell which one's the professionals and which one's Andy's?
So is Andy's on the right?
This is mine.
Oh,
I'll tell you why you know it's his.
he put
Because he's put loads in.
2 centimetres.
Yeah.
Look at that.
That is solid.
That is solid. They
feel-
feel...
Yeah. You won't want to be kicked by one.
No. And there you go. That is one pair of very legitimate brake shoes. Now I've got all the gear, I've got to get some skills to match. So let's get on with some training. The next day you join me in the Peak District, where Andy has agreed to give me a couple of pointers through my first runs downhill on my brand new luge board. Am I allowed to do like push, go down?
As many pushes as you want.
As many
There
pushes.
is no restriction. 3, 2, 1, go.
We had a few goes on this slow hill just to get used to the board, but once we got up to around 35 miles an hour, we moved on to a much faster, a much more turny hill. We had a few goes where I could get used to the turning, but very quickly it started to rain. And luge boards really aren't that good at turning in the wet. So Andy had the idea of instead of working on turning, we could go to some massive hills and work on top speed. When we arrived at the next hill, Andy gave me a bit of a pep talk and some tips on what I need to do. Zach whipped out his Magnum lens and helped me with my GoPro, and we set off on our first run down this hill bomb. On my first run, when I got to around 37 miles per hour, I started to pick up some speed wobbles. So we made our way back to the top of the hill, very kindly towed up by this lady in her Kia, adjusted the trucks a bit, and got going again. One thing I wanted to point out is to steer at these high speeds, you move your toes to one side like this. It just shows how sensitive these boards really are when you're going at these top speeds. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Once we'd done this a few more times, Andy moved us onto a much bigger and much faster hill. I can feel my adrenaline's been going for a while. I got like the shakes a little bit, and I'm hot. I'm very hot.
So you just saw the hill, what do you think?
We're going into a village. Is this it? That grin fills me with such dread.
Maximum I've had here is 55. Generally 52, 53.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's only
So maybe 50's the
8
goal?
and 9.
It's 50, maybe 50?
50's the goal. If you get to 50, you are above and beyond, but you'll get a trigger.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Once we got suited and booted, we had a mosey on up to the top of the hill. And I'm not going to lie, after looking down this strip of tarmac I'm about to bomb down, I did have a bit of a what am I doing moment. But as always, Andy was there to reassure me.
Again, if a car does come up while you're part the way down, do not panic.
Just stay to the left.
Sit up, slow down, and stay to the left.
You're probably wondering why I started to slow down there. It's just because this car was coming and I really didn't fancy getting run over. We let some of the bigger traffic go on through and then we made our way back to the top of the hill for another go.
Make sure you do the stuff.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Thank you. Still all good down there? Okay, see you guys in a bit. And boom, 50 miles an hour on my very first day. I gotta tell you, I was pretty pleased with that. Yeah! If your childhood self could imagine riding the world's best go-kart, that's what this feels like. And you can tell the amount of force involved in this just by the amount of smoke that's coming off Andy's shoes.
How was that? Mate, that was insane.
I literally saw you go...
How was that?
But you will have no problem now with getting to Tregarron and saying, yeah, it's mid-40s. This is far faster than Tregarron, so you have no problem holding out. Like I say, get some practice in, get some cornering in.
Okay.
Like I say, the techniques, legs straight, practice some corners. And again, practice some corners at low speed and build the speed up.
With my newfound confidence, the next day we made our way back to a very soggy North Devon.
So can you run through exactly what are you doing here, Sam?
Tiring myself out. No, we found this. I feel like I'm David Attenborough. Here in Devon, we have found the smoothest piece of tarmac, which luckily is just by my house. I am currently cleaning it because it's full of shite, and that way I won't slip off and break my legs. The point of today's training is to work on my cornering. I didn't get a chance to do a huge amount of cornering with Andy, so if I've got any chance of keeping up with the competition on Sunday, I've got to make sure I practice it throughout this week. Now I've only got 4 more days till race day, so let's go. Obviously this hill's a little bit slipperier than we realised. I've all got stinging nettles everywhere.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Hey, look how that twig, at least your ass wasn't there. Jesus.
Oh yeah. Oh! That would have been really bad. That would have gone all right cheek.
What was that, understeered because of the moss?
Yeah.
Do you think you have to hug the inside more?
Yeah. For the rest of the day, it was really a case of just rinse and repeat. But the line between making it down and not making it down was so fine. It seemed like for every run that I made it, I didn't make another. So here's a little supercut of all the best and worst runs. Thank goodness that rubber stopper's on there, I could have hurt myself. Now that was a good one.
What were you doing?
I was skating back! I was skating and my board caught. By the end of the day, I was making it down pretty consistently. In a weird way, I'm glad the hill was this slippery. It taught me how to teeter just on the edge of losing traction. And that's just something I wouldn't have been able to learn without sliding out so many times. We're out here on Dartmoor. Look at it. Isn't it lovely? Got some rocks over there. Some hills over there. All sheep there. Now I've pointed out all the most prominent features of Dartmoor, it's time to get in my first scouting run down this lovely piece of tarmac we found. I wasn't really sure if I was going to get kicked off this road because technically it is the road up to a military shooting range. But nonetheless, the point of today's practice is to get used to turning at a little bit higher speed and also get used to riding on a slightly rougher road. Now I know this road's fast enough with a good amount of turns, it's time to get the laps in. All was going well, but about 6 or 7 runs in, this happened. Oh shit. Now I think this happened because water and dirt had gotten under the sole yesterday when I was romping around in the mud. And you combine that with a particularly rough road, to be honest, I'm surprised it lasted this long. We've had a disaster.
What's happened?
Sole of the shoe came off. Hi there. I'm a shoe that's broke. Sorry, we lost him. Yeah, look.
shit.
And I got a turd going as well. Like right down the pipe. So what I think I'm going to do, so I'm going to go put my other shoe, my normal day shoe on, because I'm not braking that much. I'll just use my left foot toe wise to brake.
Just brake a bit earlier.
And just, I'm getting on the line of like, do I need to brake? And then when I get home, I'm gonna
So you know,
fix all this.
when Andy said that all this adhesive was full and the staples was foolproof.
Foolproof? You ain't met this fool before. On the way back up the hill, we had a chance to interact with some of the local fauna. Here we have a young sheep, specifically a pinkback. These are very rare in this environment. We must be quiet and not move. We may spook him. He's currently looking for fag packets to nibble on. That's his favourite snacks.
Oh, he's just shit on the road, mate.
Oh! You? That was a dirty protest. Right in front of our eyes. Oh, you fluffy buggers! Once I got my replacement shoe on, I got a couple more runs in just to top off the day. By the end of the day, I wasn't having to brake round the corners anymore, and since I was going around mid-20s to mid-30s, I feel like I can call this day a success. Other than the shoe braking, that's going to require a little bit of DIY. Hello. How am I going to fix this broken brake sole? Firstly, I'm going to remove all of the staples. Then I'm going to go outside and wipe off all the old glue with white spirit. Now tell me, Paz, Sam, why are we using white spirit outside?
White spirit smell in the kitchen would be bad.
So I go out to the very messy shed to get some white spirit and some rags. Now Paz, Sam, why is the shed such a mess? Just chucked a load of rubbish in here. We've cleared out another shed, so that's why this is full of stuff. And also, we don't want to disturb it too much because the swallows are in here, and we don't want to interrupt their roosting. So please excuse the shed. So I grabbed the rags, dry off the table, and got to work wiping off all the old glue. Now I don't know why, but for some reason the glue actually became more sticky after I'd wiped it down with white spirit.
What's happened?
They're now so sticky. Oh no! That's gone on the furniture. Oh shit.
But once I'd unstuck myself, I put on a whole bunch of new glue, clamp them down in between these two pieces of wood, and then in the morning I'm going to add the staples so they're fresh and ready to go. We rolling, are we?
Yeah.
We are here today at Valley of the Rocks. We wanted to come somewhere very cinematic, somewhere where we can have a good time skating around. So we've come here. Couldn't be better. I don't want to bang on too much about how Devon is so nice, but I really wouldn't want to live anywhere else. But while Zach was enjoying the views with the drone, I was having my own personal crisis.
We're having a technical issue here, Sam.
Currently stuck in this bloody thing. God,
It really is.
it's really stuck. And it's not like I can jump out of it any other way.
Could just live in the suit for the next 3 days.
I was saying it's already feeling a bit clingy because I've been in it for so long. Yes. There we go, crisis averted. Today I wanted to have a bit more of a relaxed one, while still driving home the skills like being comfortable at top speed, braking and cornering. Now the day's not getting any younger, so let's get going. With every run down here I'm keeping myself as flat and aerodynamic as possible, keeping my arms clamped to my side and my toes pointed to reduce drag. I'm also really comfortable with the steering now. All I've got to do is dip my toes over to one side and that gets me moving. Once I'd done this run about 5 or 6 times, I decided that I was going to go to the other side of the valley and do a couple of hill bombs. I hadn't checked what the road on this side of the valley was like, and also I didn't check for cars, but I was feeling really confident and the road is wide enough, so safety schmafety. The training at this point is going really well. I'm able to travel unfazed at mid to upper 30s, and I'm feeling really comfortable with the dynamics of the board. Now let's give it one more go just to top off the day. And there we go, a little crash to finish the day. Now I think it's time to get out of here, the tourists are starting to roast me.
Is that how you meant to?
Oh, do you know, it's not. I even had a guy up the top go to me and goes, "Oh, it's bloody easy on the way down, eh?" So I'm, goddamn right, sir. You're goddamn right in your Kia Sportage. And here we are. After building up my skills over the last few days, I finally get to have a go on the course I'm going to be racing on. We're here at the Tregaron Freeride event. Yeah, we've just arrived and there's been a red flag and there's an ambulance currently coming down, so we're really starting off on a good foot. I was hoping that this wasn't foreshadowing my near future, but all I can do is get up there and get practicing. While I was getting the bags all packed up, who did we spy? It was Andy Spate. Now, one of the nice things about Tregaron is you get driven up in these vans, so I hopped in and made my way up to the top of the hill. I might have been slightly over keen to get going. The road's closed to any cars until the marshals say. So by the time Zach's allowed to drive up with all the camera gear, I've already had 4 goes, crashed twice, and none of it's on camera. Well, except for this one, which one of the other guys very luckily caught on their GoPro. Whoops. Now, I think the reason I crashed is because on these very tight and very fast turns, I'm having to do a whole new technique for steering, which I just haven't practiced before. But anyway, once the road was open to traffic, I met up with Zach and had a chat about it.
So you've done what, 4 runs? 3 runs? 4 runs?
Yeah.
Absolutely smashed it.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I found now, like, cornering at speed, like fast speed. I've got kind of a technique where I've seen everyone else basically, they'll be flat on their board, and then they lean at their right shoulder down if they go around a right corner, and then look over like that, and it drags around real fast. And that's worked for me. Now, after a quick drink, we had a catch up with Andy where he helped me adjust the chocks on my board and gave me some brand new brake soles that I'd ordered the week before.
Just feel the difference there, just press on that, I'll hold that steady. And all I've done is turn that over.
Yeah. Crazy. Currently doing some fine adjustments because I'm
Andy,
finding on the corners.
Yeah.
Oh, go on, sorry, you go. Yeah, ask Andy some stuff. I'm talking over and over.
How's he doing, Andy?
From what I've heard and seen, and what everybody else has been saying, he's doing all right. Yeah. Considering 1 week's practice, yeah, that's not a lot by anybody's standards.
Andy has gifted me some new soles. Look at these, fresh. Well, freshly covered in sheep poo because we're staying in a field. But I made a template out of tape, and it obviously shrank over the time that it was with him, and I've now got just like a ½ inch less brake sole. But apparently the heel's the main bit that I have to worry about, so it'll be fine. For the rest of the day, I just went down the hill over and over, trying to learn the race lines, trying to learn when to brake, and I did have one other small crash where me and another rider collided. But at this point, I feel like I'm as prepared as I ever could be to take on some of the world's best luge boarders in tomorrow's races. But I was told that tonight, before all that, there was going to be a little party.
That actually looks sick. Sam, they're doing the first practice runs. Do you fancy doing some more downhill?
Yeah, just give me a little bit longer to sleep. What was it? Zach left me alone to get a little bit more sleep while he went off to shoot B-roll.
Alright, one more and I think we'll be set.
But once I was suited and booted and fully awake, we shipped off for the first practice runs of the day. Right, top of the hill, first run today, practice run. It's heating up and it's going to be a hot one, so apparently the road's going to be really grippy and really fast. Now, we had one more practice run before the official races began. From a very hard day's riding the day before, you can see my new brake soles are already showing a lot of wear, but I haven't got any more spare soles, so I'm just going to have to make them last. Now it's back to the top of the hill for just one more practice go before the official races begin. This is where the rubber meets the road. The way the competition format is laid out is like this. 10 competitors take part in 3 races each to gain points based on where they finish. And the point system works like this. First place gets 4 points, second place gets 3 points, third place gets 2 points, and fourth place gets 1 point. The top 8 scorers from these 3 races then move on to the next round. These top 8 then take part in 2 races, and the top 4 scorers from that move on to the final. Now this is pretty self-explanatory, but the final 4 then race for a chance to call themselves King of the Hill. But where will I place in all this? Well, let's get on to racing and find out. Is it feet on the line? How does it work?
Everything behind the line.
Like that.
Ready, set.
And we're off. As you can see, my gymnastics background has given me that power and speed off the line, so I pull ahead with an early lead. Coming into the first corner, I try and take a centre-left race line so there's not too much room on either side of me for people to pass. And it kind of works, except instead of people passing me, they just crashed right into me and killed a lot of my speed. This poor chap even got flipped over going around that corner, so I'm going to count myself lucky. On this corner, I try and brake as little as possible, mostly using my right foot, and hug the inside, trying to keep as much of my speed as possible. Even though it seemed like a good line to take, this chap on the outside of me just drives ahead and I end up coming in third. Now at this point in the competition, considering I had such a lead in the beginning, I wasn't that pleased with third. Balls. But there's no time to dwell on it, so it's back up to the top of the hill for my second race of this round.
Yeah, what I found is cornering, I just can't beat him on cornering. They've got the experience that I don't have, so I've got to beat him on the push. Here we go.
Spread out a bit.
Is my little light flashing? Yes. By the way, your line's fucking impressive.
What?
Really impressive. I honestly, it was just picking me apart. I couldn't do a thing about it. Really impressive.
Riders ready, ready, set, go! Go on, man.
And there it is again, my biggest strength is definitely in my push. I came into this corner a little bit too fast, nearly 45 miles per hour, and my feet get a little bit hooked up on the road. That forced me to go far left and open the door up for this chap who beat me in the last race. Again on this corner, I think I took a good line, holding that inside edge and following it out to the left. Judging by his reaction, I think the guy behind me thought I was going to push him right off the road. But coming up to the line, it is so close. It was actually so close we had to get it reviewed. So here it is coming up to the line and... oof! We're going to have to play that one again frame by frame. It was actually so close they had to judge it from the shadows that our feet were casting on the line. But if we freeze it right there, the shadow from my foot is just over the line, whilst the chap next to me has got about half an inch more to go. So they ended up giving me second place.
Okay, I'm going to catch you in between races. Oh, hello mate. Yeah, that one, photo finish, couldn't have been closer, but they've given me it. Apparently I was about a centimetre further in front of the other chap. So we'll see how this next round goes. Hopefully better.
Now it's really nice getting driven up in these vans, but on this day it was getting up close to 30 degrees and it was pretty uncomfortable.
Bloody hot, isn't it? Very hot.
Very hot and sweaty, I get suited and booted ready for the next race. Even though this isn't a very physically demanding sport, the adrenaline dumps of it are immense. So even though you're not moving around that much, after 2 or 3 races you're just feeling knackered. But despite that, I'm feeling focused and ready for the next race.
Ready, set, go!
To give myself the best chance possible of winning, I'm pushing as hard as I possibly can off the line. And because I'm going for it in the push, I've actually managed to wear through the tips of my glove, which is less than ideal. Coming into this corner, I've learned from previous rounds and I brake hard, cutting more than 20 miles an hour, and I steer even harder, managing to hold off the competition. Now this corner was a bit different. I put my feet down and try and brake hard, but something's not quite right. I can't really slow down as much as I want and I end up sliding a lot further out. So by the time I go to lean left and get round the corner, I've opened a huge gap and my competition just flies right by me. So by the time we make it to the line, I ended up coming in third. Now this is one sport that's really hard on the kit. Not only have I worn through the tips of my fingers, it turns out I've also completely delaminated the heel of one of my soles. So as I came into that last corner and tried to brake, I didn't have as much rubber as I thought I had to brake with, so I just slid on through. And you can't really see it, but if I zoom in right there, you can see the last bit of my heel just trying its best to hang on. Now at this point of the competition, I've done enough to make it through to the second round, but my kit is falling apart at a rate of knots. The next round of races was coming up in about 5 minutes, and my kit was failing me, so Operation Rapid DIY was in effect.
Talk me through what repairs you've made.
Yeah, I've done my brake soles were completely ran through. They look like that.
So I sliced it off and transplanted another sole onto it and just glued it. It's already Velcro, it's going to be stuck on. My gloves, I took the fingers off of another one of these and glued them onto there because they were getting holes in them. I've done it for this one as well, but just for the middle finger. So the ones that had holes now don't have holes. So I've got better takeoff, better brakes, and I'm gonna do some old lubrication to get some better speed hopefully as well.
Because I was pressed for time and a little bit stressed, my patience was a bit thinner than normal.
Today we are turning the skateboard documentary into a rant about how the hell this is 55 calories. Why? It's like, does it even taste that good? Taste test? No, it's shit. It's dry.
Can I have a look?
Wasted calories.
I probably should have tried one of them, but anyway, after giving my wheels a little bit of attention, we ran back to the line, but unfortunately I was just a hair too late. I'd missed one of my heats races, but I wasn't out yet. I wouldn't be able to gain enough points to make it into the final, but I've still got one last race to see where I can place overall.
Ready, set, go!
Those new glove tips really working their magic with probably my best push off the line yet. With the new modified brake soles, I can get a hard brake in and follow the line that I want to take, which keeps me out in front with a good lead. On this turn I'm able to keep a nice inside line which keeps me out in the lead, and on the last straightaway at the end of the course, my competition just can't quite catch up with me. So in the last race of my week-long luge boarding experience, I managed to get myself a first place. Even though I didn't make it all the way into the finals, I'm not too disappointed with how I did. I got 5th place overall, so not too shabby. Just before the awards ceremony, Zach grabbed me for a quick debrief.
Did you have fun?
I had loads of fun, loads and loads of fun, yeah. I would have liked to have been in the final one, but, you know, it's just how it goes sometimes. I wasn't quite good enough. But, I mean, they deserved it. They were way better than I am, way quicker than I am, way more practice than I am. But for 1 week, I'm very, very pleased with how I did, because 50 miles an hour on this thing and doing racing and like actually being able to keep up pace, I don't think it's too much more you can ask for.
But Andy, on the other hand, not only got himself into the final, but managed to get 3rd place overall, which shows he's not only good at coaching my dumb ass, he's also great at competing. We met up with Andy after the ceremony just to say thank you and to round out the episode.
What's your closing sound like?
My closing sound, well, I was going to say, okay, well, this has been luge boarding with Andy Spate and me, Sam West. This has been Wild West.
Excellent.
Yeah, excellent. Bye. Thanks so much, Andy. Cheers. And cut.
Oh, just one more thing before you go. At the end of every episode, I like to give the mentors a gift, but in this case, Andy wanted me to donate to charity, so that's exactly what I've done. I donated £100 to Cancer Research UK, and I'd encourage anybody who's watching this to do the same. Anyway, thanks very much. Bye.
Flappy